Alright folks, it's your boy Steve here at Vast Motorsports, and today we're going to be doing a gimbal bearing swap. I'm actually doing a full outdrive service. I had to do seals on the upper, on the yoke shaft, and what was happening is, when I went to change the gear lube in the outdrive, it had a lot of oil, milky, nasty oil in it. So I went ahead and pulled the outdrive to check the gimbal bearing and check the bellows, and sure enough, this upper U-joint bellow was full of that nasty oil, and so it's coming out the front of the yoke. Anyway, that's going to be in a different video, and this is just going to be a quick shot of how to do the gimbal bearing itself. So there's plenty of videos. I even have a few myself on my channel of how to get the outdrive off. That's the simple part. So now I'm just going to do a quick video on how to do the actual gimbal bearing. So stick around. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up. I hope you're already subscribed. If you ain't, hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor. It really helps the channel grow. I'm always trying to get the little channel to grow, and that way it helps in the YouTube algorithms, and people will be able to see my videos, and I'm hoping I can help somebody out. You know what I mean? Years of experience just messing with them. I'm not a professional. I don't do it full time, but I've been doing it for 18 to 20 years, and I've learned all kind of little tricks and stuff that I like to pass on. So anyway, thanks, and stick around. All right, folks. So on this job, I remember when I started, I tried bearing pullers and stuff for like rear axles and all, and a couple times I had success, a lot of times no, because they would be seized in there, you know. Especially, I hate saltwater boats because they have so much corrosion and all. Luckily this one's not. So it was worth investing. You can get these on eBay fairly cheap. So I recommend just getting the right tool. What we're going to do is we screw this in here. Now this is made, as you can see, there's a little lip here and it's split. So when we push this into the actual bearing, it's going to go through the race, the inner race, and it's going to sit here on this shaft. But it has to collapse. These are tapered. It's going to collapse a little to go through. So when you're going to pull, you know, you're putting tension on this to pull the bearing out, you don't want it to just jump off the lip. That's what this is for. When we stick this back through, it goes all the way up into here, and then it keeps that from being able to collapse. So let's get this screwed on. You could leave it like this put together if you want, but for me to put it in my toolbox, it just fits easier when I take it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in here, and also it's got this little cutout. You want to make sure for your Alpha 2 Gen 2s your and Bravos, you're missing this little nipple here. That's for the gear lube reservoir inside. So just set it up against the bearing, give it a little smack, get it in there. Now I gotta tighten it down till I get this over these studs. I think I was going the wrong way. You could probably have already threaded it down pretty far and then smacked it in, but I don't want to strip any of these threads. I don't want to damage them threads on them studs. Then you're in trouble. I'd rather leave it out and just do it by hand like this. Plus, I wanted to know that it actually fully seated through the inside of the bearing there. Got it pretty close, so I'm going to go ahead and insert this now. Put it in, give it a smack. Now that end cannot collapse. It's stuck through that bearing, and it's going to pull that bearing. Now we've got seated and it's got tension. We're going to start undoing it. So now just start turning this. It could be a pain in the butt now, don't get me wrong. Especially that first initial pop to actually get the bearing moving. Sometimes they're seized in there. Sometimes they pop right out. You never know. Whew. Alright, so we got it released now. And that one was a booger. Had them a hell of a lot worse. I've had them a heck of a lot better. So, you never know what you're going to run into, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'd say that one would have been impossible without the tool here. Your regular slide hammer puller ain't going to get that. And you'll damage the seal. There's a seal in past the bearing. It's supposed to help if your boot goes bad, the drive boot here, and water's protruding through, it'll go right through the bearing. That seal is supposed to help slow it down, you know, so you can get the safety. It's still going to put water in the bilge area, but at least it won't just be flooding in, and if you're out far, your bilge pump, as long as it's working properly, would keep the boat afloat and stuff like that, you know, to get you to safety. So we're just going to pull this out. Yeah, you can see that nasty milky oil. Woo! So anyway, now this bearing was going bad. I reached in prior and was spinning it, and I could feel how rigidy it was. So that's why I want to go ahead and service it now and put it in. It's the beginning of the season. I want my buddy Justin and Katie to be good to go, you know. Love you guys. So we don't want any issues. I've done all kind of service for them right now. But so anyway, this is another, you can see the bad grooves right here. I've had them so hard before you couldn't just use something like a wrench. So I've got a big pipe wrench in there with a real long handle, piece of metal as a handle stuck on it. I've had to use the pipe wrench on this before, way out here cranking for some really tough bearings. So then you just pull this out like that. Take a hammer, tap it off and put your tool away. We're done with this. Alright, so we've got our new bearing. These are non-greasable. Some of the old ones or originals used to have there's a grease fitting right here, and there's a little tunnel that goes up through the housing here, and it would lube the actual bearing. And some of those older ones, them other bearings, I think the dot is supposed to be pointed at the channel possibly, or you at least find the hole here. I never see them bearings, so I'm not sure about that part. But what we're going to do, I always take this ring off and I fold it in like this and make it nice and tight. Don't kink it anywhere. Do it nice and level all the way around it. You don't want to create any high spots. Just do it like that a couple times and get it nice and smaller without kinking. Then when we put it back on, it's going to be nice and tight fit. Because I've had these plenty of times where I drive the bearing in and then I'm finished and it like went in pretty easy, and then I turn around and look in after I take the tool out and this sleeve has backed out some, and it'll be like hung somewhere hanging halfway out or something, and that's no good. So what we're going to do is I always put the dot right here at the 12 o'clock, because as you can see, it's called a gimbal bearing, not because it's just in the gimbal housing. It's because this bearing, this inner bearing, gimbals inside this race. If I took the tool right now and had this like in the vise or something, I could move this and this bearing would go like this inside the ring here. And You can see they've got some big cuts here. So to me, that's for the side-to-side movement as you're steering. Not that it's going to exaggerate that much. It's not going to move that much, but they got them there for a reason. That's what I'm going to go with. So, but it gimbals anywhere in there. You could really have it clocked anywhere, and it's going to work. Because that shaft should not really just... The shaft itself is stuck in the coupler in the back of the engine and going through the bearing. It's not going to move much. It's not going to exaggerate much, but it can move a little. So what we're going to do, I'm also going to put a little Vaseline on here. You can use marine grease, whatever you got. Heck, a little coat of oil if you want. My choice is always to go to the Vaseline because it's good. Won't hurt your skin or anything. I've got gloves, but if you get it on your skin or something like that, I've just been using it for years around the shop. It's a lot cleaner than your normal grease. I'm going to put a little on the inside here. Now I'm just going to set this here until I go get my tool. So we can send her home, y'all. We're going to send her home, drive her deep. Alright, so I've got my tool here. This is an alignment tool. So this has two purposes. It can align the bearing after the bearing's already installed. But this cup is what we're going to need to drive the bearing in and send her home. So what you do is you're supposed to mark on here a certain depth with it all the way in, blah, blah, blah. And that's the correct Mercruiser, whatever way. I don't want it going all the way up in there because I've learned over the years when you're installing that bearing, it may not be lined 100%, or how do you know your motor's correctly aligned? You know, if you're doing a new install. The motor's already in there, like when I took this outdrive off, as soon as I knew it was good because I installed this whole power plant in this boat years ago before I sold it to Justin and Katie. So I know everything was set. But one way you'll know is when you take the outdrive off. As soon as I undid the bolts, hell, it separated by itself. I didn't have to slam it or pry it or nothing. It just separated a ½ inch or so all by itself. And then all I had to do was just slide it right off. That's telling me it's still in perfect alignment. If it was binded up at all, then you may have an alignment issue most likely. So what we're going to do is, I've got mine drilled up pretty high. I just wanted to install the bearing. And what you do is undo this bolt here. Now this is two sides. It's got two different sides. One side is beveled in, as you can see. And that's the side we want facing towards the bearing, because as you can see, it's the inner race is protruding out. If you use this back side that's flat, you're going to be pushing just on that center, trying to install the bearing. You're going to ruin that bearing, beating it in there. You're going to mess up all the balls in the bearing. So you want this facing this, so it's encapsulating this inner race. Just this outside sleeve is touching the outer part of the race that's actually getting driven in to the housing. So now again, what we're going to do is drop this on the tool, on the alignment rod, stick your bolt through, and we're just going to thread it through some. Don't have to be all the way down tight, but we do want it going through the other side and started with the threads, because we're going to be beating on it pretty hard. You don't want it stripping anything or hurting anything. This tool's been used many times. So, and the other thing all this is, I'm actually squatted down right now, but I have the boat parked on ramps. I have some nice wooden ramps cut. And thank you, Doug. I got them off Doug many years ago. I don't know if you're watching this or not, but thank you, buddy. So anyway, I back up on there and I have it hooked to the tractor so I can let the front all the way down, because I want this up as high as I can get it, because I'm working under a platform right now. And if it's just down on the ground, man, I would be like this, squatting under the platform, and really hard to work on the outdrives and stuff when they got the swim platform. So that's why I back on the ramps, get it up out of your way a little better, make some room here for the outdrive to go all the way in the down position and stuff when you're going to pull it or put it on. Makes it a lot simpler. You don't want to be pulling it and putting it on when it's tilted up like this, the outdrive. The shaft is not at the right position, and it just makes it a lot more difficult. So I'm going to get Big Mama here. And this one's going to take a little more than just some love taps. We're going to have to smack this one. So I'm putting that dot, 12 o'clock. I got it lined with this. And I'm just sticking it straight in so I can keep it at that 12 o'clock position. Sticking it through. Now I'm not looking at this because see, this can move anywhere. I'm just looking, I know I can feel that's flat and I know what's flat on these. So just do your best to start tapping her in. Now see, I stopped and I'm checking because I see that sleeve is already starting to come off. I'm going to pull it back out real quick. Don't want to go too deep and I have to pull the whole thing out. Now this one might have a little damage to it. I kind of stretched it by accident. I might just take the one off the old one and use it. Had a lot of old grease on it. I'm just going to wipe that out real quick. Alright, let's try this again. No good, once again. So this is the kind of crap you'll run into once in a while. Alright, didn't damage it, so I got to try to get it closed up a little more. Alright, so it started pouring down on me. I had to come in. But, so I was having issues out of the outer sleeve. And obviously the other bearing that I had originally put in years ago was a lot better quality, because this ring, I don't care how bad I try or how hard to make it go smaller, it just will not. It's a better quality of metal. The other one that came on this bearing, I pretty much could just do whatever I want with my hands and manipulate it. So what I did was I held the ring nice and tight because it did not want to sit nice. And see, there's a groove here that's going to catch against and drive it in. But it keeps jumping over the groove, and that's why it'll come off. The ring gets stuck halfway through as you're beating the bearing in. So what I did was I just held it snug and took a little bit of tape, put it just on this outer edge to hold it against that lip and not let it expand. And then I can drive the bearing most of the way in, halfway or so, pull the tool out, look in there, make sure it's good, and just peel this piece of tape off real quick. And then it'll continue to go in after that, because the gimbal housing will be holding this nice and snug against the bearing. So that's my new trick. We're going to give that a try. All right, the rain slowed down, so let's try this again with the tape on it. We're going to do it with the tape trick. Oh yeah, that's working. There we go. There we go. Woo! Another Steve-O trick. Another Steve-O trick. It's halfway in. I ain't even going to worry about the tape. It'll push it off or get stuck in there. It won't matter. It's almost in. I tell you, it takes some smacking, y'all. That's why you need a big one. Almost in, needs a hair more. Whew. That's her. All right. Woo. All right. So it did get into the coupler a little bit. I'm going to take this off and check the alignment now, because that gimbal bearing needs to be aligned with the motor. So now I have the sleeve off. This is just an alignment shaft. Alright, now as you can see, I had to hammer it in, but it's in the coupler now, so this bearing is not 100% straight yet where I want it. Make the outdrive really difficult to go on, even though I know the motor and this transom assembly are aligned. The motor mounts are aligned like they're supposed to be. I know that. Now I can turn it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it out. So what I'll do is later, I got to go do something real quick, but when I get back later, I'll jump in the boat and I'm going to fire the motor up and rev it real good, get the RPMs up, and then when I jump out and come back here, this will come right out and everything will be aligned. Because I don't think, yeah, I can't pull it right now. Sometimes you can get lucky, give it some smacks. And it may align that way. I don't think that's it though. Now it's seated fully in the coupler, and see, I can still spin it, but it's tough. I can't pull it out by hand. Just giving it some taps, see if it'll reset the bearing there, but that ain't gonna do it. So, like I said, I gotta go do some stuff, get food, all that good stuff. When I come back later, I'll jump in and start it and show you how to do that. right, so there we go. Can pull her in and push her in and pull her out all together. Took a little force to pull it, but once it moves, it slides right out. There's where it's touching. And I can get it in. I got to give it a little pushy push, but it's alright. Yeah. That should be fine. Now see, I can tell I'm getting all the way deep insertion, full insertion, because it greased the whole thing, and that's from the coupler being greased. And then what you can do is smooth this out real good. Like so. Now I can keep this at the 12 o'clock and don't turn it and stick it in. Push it in like that. Don't turn, just pull it straight out. Try not to drag it. And then I can look and I can see this is the top at 12. Can pretty well see the marks all around it, but they're like on the 12 o'clock, they're a little more pronounced. But I know the alignment on the motor and the gimbal is straight. It's just a gimbal bearing, probably needs a hair more. Now what I could do is stick this back in, start the motor, and it's easier if you got somebody back here so I ain't climbing in and out. Let them take the big hammer and just give it a couple love taps while it's running, and that really centers it up good. But that's going to be good enough to where I can go ahead and pop the outdrive on, and once the outdrive's on and you start it, it'll straighten itself right out. But now if, like I said, if you are having any issues when you first went to take the outdrive off, if it was hanging up, then you've most likely got an alignment issue. You would want to use this tool and really get, you know, then you'd go inside and start adjusting the alignment on the engine until you come out here and be able to pull the bar out. And I would recommend doing that before you even change the gimbal bearing, because like I said, whenever you install a new gimbal, it could be just the center part that's off a little bit. And that bearing's pretty hard to turn. You're not just going to turn it by hand. You know, you need to stick this in there without it going into the coupler and move it a little. But it's easier. You just take the hammer, pop it into the coupler, because I know the engine is in line already. And like I said, when I undid the 4 bolts, or 6 bolts or whatever, it's separated by itself. Sometimes I got to at least lift the outdrive up and pop it once or twice up and down, you know, to make it. I'll leave a nut actually started on one of these so it don't just fall off if it breaks loose. Sometimes the paper gasket's holding it. This one, as soon as I undid them all, boom, it's separated by itself, and all I did was just pull the outdrive right off. So easy. I know it's in a line. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, y'all. Thank you. Please give me a thumbs up. Good luck with your projects, y'all. I hope you get it knocked out. You can do it. You can do it. Steve says you can do it. All right, y'all have a blessed evening.